Hey guys, what's up? It's Julia. Welcome back to what? Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sitting down and talking to you guys about some of my favorite books that I have. As you can see behind me, I have quite a few. Full disclosure, I haven't read every single book up there. I've read a lot of them. I am into my 5th book during quarantine, so I figured I would share some of my favorite books with you guys. I really do love to read. Obviously, that's the point of today's video. That's what we're here for. I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm posting a lot of content during quarantine and this whole mess that we're in right now as a world. I was gonna say country, but honestly, the world. It's keeping me very sane and very happy. Well, as happy as I can be, making content and posting it. It's just giving me something to do every day, reason to like be productive, and hopefully giving you guys some entertainment, and hopefully you're enjoying everything. So be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into this let's get into this video that I've been very excited to film. I'm sorry I touch my hair so much in these videos, and I always get annoyed with myself when I'm editing, but alright. Books should be available on like Amazon, Barnes & Noble online. You shouldn't have to go anywhere to get them. A few of them you can find free PDFs of online, or they're all available on like Kindle. I really like having the physical book, and you can order them online. I know in the area Barnes & Noble is doing curbside pickup, and it's a really good system. You literally just order, they email you when you're ready, you go, you call them and tell them you're outside, and they come and they put it in your car. All these books should be available for purchase, and I will try and find links in the description to direct you where you can get them. So let's start with my #1 favorite book of all time. If you've ever asked me for a book, this is the first one I recommend. If you've ever posted online and asked for book recommendations, I always put this one as an answer. My friend Hannah showed me this book, I think 2 summers ago. I've read it like 2 or 3 times now. It's just so good. So it's called The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. It's basically a love story with the 2 main characters. It kind of just goes through a really long period of time in their lives. They keep getting separated and reconnected. It's really, really, really good. This woman is an incredible writer. I think this might have been like her first novel, if I am not mistaken. This is her first adult novel. She is, I think, primarily a children's book writer. This is my #1 recommendation if you're looking for a really good book. You will not be able to put this down. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this one. So that is my first recommendation. Keeping on the theme of that author, Jill Santopolo, she just released another adult novel, so her 2nd adult novel, called More Than Words. I just finished this one the other day. It's definitely different from The Light We Lost. It's just a very different story. They're not very similar in plot lines or anything like that, but besides the fact they both take place in New York City. But this one's really good. It keeps you on your toes, and it's a really great story of love, loss, and kind of just how a person changes when their circumstances change. Both of her books are very much love stories that keep you hooked because you want to know what's going to happen between these people, but at the same time, they're very realistic, kind of just like normal lives. I'm so excited for her to continue. Her Jesus Christ. I'm really excited for her to continue her career as an author because both of these books are phenomenal. So, all right, moving on. This one I literally finished last night, and everyone's talking about it. Everyone's read it. You've probably seen it on social media. But this is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I'm not gonna lie, it took a couple chapters to get into it. Not slow, but like there's a lot of buildup and background story that you have to get through, which you do need in the story, so it's not invalid. But you definitely need the background story, but it takes a minute to get like the actual plot line thickened and started. But once you get into it, ooh, it's really, really good. And every time you think like maybe it's about to get slow, boom, something happens, the plot thickens. It's so, so good. It's basically a story of, they call her the Marsh Girl. It's a young girl who lives basically in like a swamp in North Carolina. She lives in a shack located on like the marsh on the coast of North Carolina. And it goes through her life, kind of surviving out there on her own. And then it's also telling the story a few years, or like I'd say 20 something years in the future, where someone in the same town gets murdered, and you're kind of juggling these two stories throughout the book. And I'm really hoping that I'm not giving anything away when I'm talking about these books, because sometimes I do that on accident. So I'm really trying my hardest not to. But yeah, this is a very beautifully written book. It's written by Delia Owens, who is a wildlife scientist. Definitely a little bit different than I would normally read. I am a huge romance novel person, and this definitely has romance in it, but it is a little bit different than just your typical romance novel. There's a lot more to it, and I really highly recommend this book as well. I loved it. Let's move on to a Nicholas Sparks book. All right, let's talk about Nicholas Sparks. We've all read all his books. We all know who he is. We all know his name. I'm not gonna lie, some of his older books I like better than his newer work. I like all of his books better than all of his movies. I will say that 1000%. So many of the movies that they make out of Nicholas Sparks books change the plot so much that I love Nicholas Sparks movies as their own movie, but in relation to their books. But besides that, his work has just always been really good. It's Nicholas Sparks. If you like romance, you like his books. So this is his newest novel, question mark? It might not be, but it's the most recent one that I read. This is called Every Breath. Hope Anderson and True Walls. Hope Anderson lives in North Carolina. True Walls is from Zimbabwe, and their lives intertwine in a really interesting way, and it's a really incredible story. So Nicholas Sparks, my favorite book by him is Safe Haven. The movie Safe Haven is an incredible movie, but the book is just so good. You cannot beat Safe Haven. I think that's my favorite Nicholas Sparks book, but this is the one I read most recently, and it was really good. Okay, this is a classic. I love this book so much, and I love the movie so much, and the movie and the book are actually pretty similar, so I'm very picky about movie adaptation. This is a good one. This is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. Again, just a classic. I don't know what edition of the book this is. It's just the one I happened to get. But yeah, Secret Life of Bees. I guess kind of similar to Where the Crawdads Sing. Very similar vibe, North Carolina. Also with Where the Crawdads Sing, it takes place in the 50s and 60s. This is the same, takes place in the 60s, 1964. Just a story of a young girl in North Carolina comes across these women that take her in, and it's just a really incredible story. And the metaphor of the bees that kind of strings itself through the entire book is really good. So I definitely recommend this. I read this in college. It seems like the kind of book that people would read like in school, in high school, but we never did. And I think I finished it within like 2 days, maybe one. Oh yeah, when I was in school, I used to do this thing where I would highlight like sentences in the book that I just really liked and like found really beautiful. It says, she reminded me that the world was really one big bee yard, and the same rules worked fine in both places. Don't be afraid, as no life-loving bee wants to sting you. Still, don't be an idiot. Wear long sleeves and long pants. And then this one says, act like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Above all, bees, send the bees love. Every little thing wants to be loved. So just a lot of really good like metaphors like that throughout this book. And same with Where the Crawdads Sing. As I said, it's very heavy on like wildlife and science. And she makes a lot of connections between wildlife and real life. And they're both just really beautiful books. So many books around me, I don't know where to go from here. One that was adapted into a movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time and one of my favorite books of all time. Can you guess what I'm gonna say? The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. It's a classic. We've all probably read it, but I had to include it on this list because I have it and I love it. Just a beautifully written book. And one of my favorite things about the book to movie adaptation is that they took literal lines from the book and put it in the movie. And I just really like that feature that they like stuck so closely to the book. And John Green is just like a funny character or person. He's not a character of the book, but like he's just a funny character in life. And again, you guys all probably know the story, seen the movie, read the book. But if you have seen the movie and not read the book, I recommend the book because it's been a while since that movie came out. Why not refresh your memory in a more intellectual way? Heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, will make you cry, but I would read it 1,000 times over. All right, let's move on to Ellen Hildebrand, one of my favorite authors. All right, I don't know where the book jacket went, but that's fine. I kind of prefer books like this. I really like the way books look without their sleeves. So this is Ellen Hildebrand. She's one of my favorite authors. I love her books in the summertime, so as it starts to get warmer and nicer out, hopefully we can get some sun. and Binghamton. I don't know if that exists. I don't know if that's a thing. Most of her books take place on Nantucket, which is just one of my favorite things when authors, kind of like Nicholas Sparks does with North Carolina, when authors set all their books in the same place, it just makes me feel like I know that place after I read several of their books, and I've read so many of her books. She's such a good beach read, just easy but interesting, really good books. So the first book I have by her here with me, and one of the only ones, I don't know where all of my Ellen Hildebrand books are. I always recommend them to people, so they're probably just all over the homes of my friends and family. So this one is called Barefoot. This is about three women. They are sisters, and they all come back to a family house on Nantucket, and they're all kind of dealing with different things in their lives. And they're at these kind of crossroads, tough spots in their lives, and they all come back to Nantucket for the summer, and shit goes down. So this is a really good one by her. My favorite book by her ever, and it's the first book by her I've ever read, is called Summerland. I don't have it. I read it probably in like 10th or 11th grade in high school, but it has stuck with me ever since. It is such a good story. A young girl dies in a car accident. Everyone knew her. She was just like a well-known girl in town, and it kind of just tells the story of everything that plays out after this girl's death, and it shows you the lives of so many different people in town that were affected by it. That book is so good. I don't have the actual book, which I kind of want to get it again. I would love to reread that, but that is a really good one. Summerland by Ellen Hildebrand. Barefoot by her is a more recent one that I have, and then these are her most recent books. They're 2 of 3 books in a trilogy. The third book I think comes out in October of this year. So the first one is the one missing its jacket, but it's called Winter in Paradise. And then the second one, which came out last October, is called What Happens in Paradise. They take place actually in St. John, in the US Virgin Islands. It tells the story of this family, kind of goes between 2 boys and their mother, and then their father died mysteriously over New Year's, I think, on New Year's Eve one year in St. John in a helicopter accident. They didn't know that he was there, and all these things kind of unfold about him and his death. Dealing with a tragedy and kind of a mystery and all these things that are just unfolding. Another thing I love about Ellen Hildebrand's books is that, for the most part, besides this series, all her books, like I said, take place in Nantucket, and a lot of her characters kind of intersect in books. So like the chief of police is the same in all of her books, and a lot of characters work their way into several different novels of hers. So I think that's really interesting. Keeping on the theme of series of books, again, another one you all 100% know and have seen the movies, but I figure now is a good time to read a series, and this is my favorite one, so I'm gonna talk about it, and it is the Hunger Games series. I know you've all seen, you've all heard, you've all probably read, but these books are phenomenal. I think I finished the Hunger Games like an hour before I went to see the movie because I was so excited for the movie. I heard that it was a book and it was being adapted into a movie, so I rushed out to read the book, and I literally finished it an hour before I went to see the movie. And then I sat through the movie just watching and like picking out differences and things that they changed. This is definitely my favorite series ever. This series, also the Divergent series, is really good, and that's a good series to read too because they never finished the movies for some reason. They never adapted the 3rd book into a movie, so there you go. You could tie up some loose ends if you've seen both the movies and you're like, what the hell? Because I was pissed. This is a really good series, very well written, sci-fi, dystopian world. You know what they're about, but I just figured I would throw my favorite series in the mix of these books. I also have over here the Game of Thrones series that I bought a while ago to read because I was like, why not? But I just can't commit to them. They're each like 2 inches thick, and there are 5 of them, and I think there are more to be written. I think he still has to write 2 books, so I haven't brought myself to really commit to the Game of Thrones series yet, but it's there, and I will. And now is the perfect time, but I just can't do it. It's just such a commitment, you know? Let's talk about another adaptation. This is Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. Obviously, the TV show is super duper popular. There have been 2 seasons. I think there are no more. I think they're done. And the 2nd season actually outwrote the book. So they continued the story after where the book ends, they kept going with the show. And they didn't do a bad job. It actually was really good. I think I read the book again before I watched the show because I'm annoying like that. But anyway, this is a really great book, and I wanted to talk about it mainly just because of the author, Colleen Moriarty. I've read a few of her books since Big Little Lies. She's phenomenal. My favorite book by her is What Alice Forgot. It's about this woman who gets injured and she has temporary amnesia. When she gets injured, she's in the middle of just like a really kind of shitty life situation, and she gets amnesia and kind of forgets about everything that was going on in her life. It makes her kind of just reevaluate things, and it's a really, really, really interesting story. But Colleen Moriarty, great author. If you've seen Big Little Lies, I do recommend you still read the book because it's the same storyline, but it's really, really good. Also, the book takes place in Australia and the show takes place in California. The next author I'm going to talk about, she is Colleen Hoover, who was recommended by a friend of my mom's, who always gives me great book recommendations. Colleen Hoover, she's an incredible author. The first book I read by her is the one that I don't have. I don't know who has it. Someone has it. But that one is called It Ends With Us. It's a great, great, great book. It is about this woman who is living in Boston, and kind of just a love story revolves around her. And I can't really tell you much of the plot without giving anything away, so I won't. I love that book. And then this one is Regretting You, and this one I bought in the airport on my way home from California, and I literally read it in one day. Yeah, so this one is about a family of three. The mother got pregnant really young and they had their daughter. The father is in an accident and it kind of shakes up their entire life. And a lot of people are brought into the mix. There are a lot of really interesting characters in this book. So really, really, really loved this book. I finished it in a day, couldn't put it down. So highly recommend that one. And then this is my favorite book by her of all time. Well, of all time by Colleen Hoover. Does that make any sense? This one is Hopeless. I love this book. This book is so, 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 so good. So this book almost just ruined it. Almost just ruined it. I gotta reconvene because I almost just ruined the whole thing. They gotta get edit this. This is about a girl named Sky, and she meets a guy named Dean Holder. Dean Holder is kind of just like a bad boy. He's got quite a reputation, and they're kind of pulled together. And again, I can't say much about this book because so much goes down. And like every time you think you know what's going on and you think you know what's gonna happen, you are just proven so wrong, okay? The whole book, I was like, oh, got it. And then there would be something and I'd be like, oh, all right, guess not. And then I'd be like, oh, now I know what's gonna happen. Nope. And then at the end, you're like, oh, I totally know how this ends. And you're like, oh my God, no. So all your expectations are shattered with this book. And it was just so, so good. I love this book. I mean, that's all the books that I've pulled out today to talk to you about. Just books that like I could think of off the top of my head or while looking in my little collection I got going on up there. I can definitely do this again once I like, you know, read more books, or if I think of books that I forgot, I can definitely film another version of this, or again, I could do it with movies, TV shows, anything you guys are interested in. I was really excited to film this video because I do really love to read, and I feel like right now we all need something to do and distract us from what's going on in the world. At least I know I do, and I think reading is a great way to do that because for me, like I love to just totally engulf? You'd think I could speak better considering how many books I just talked about, but here we are. I love to totally just indulge in a story and like lose myself in a book, and it's such a good distraction. I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb and just read. If you're gonna get one book from this whole video, this is the book to get. But that's all she wrote. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All of these books hopefully will be linked down below, or at least the links I could find. You definitely are bound to enjoy them if you love a good romance novel, a good adult novel. I'm not a big self-help book person. I've got like 2 or 3 of them that I've tried to read and I just can't get into it. I like to read to kind of escape real life. So reading about real life just makes me anxious. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace. Library. Is it this way or this way? Library.